As you guys may or may not know, Toriko is at the top. It's number one in terms of the manga I currently review on a weekly basis, and it's next to HXH right now. Obviously, it varies, but typically it only changes like every few months or so. Toriko was on top for a while, then Bleach took over for a while, and now HXH has taken over. It's sort of how it works. Toriko's gotten better now. So I'm here to do the review slash discussion on the latest chapter of Toriko that was just released. It will not be out next week, which is good because I did a whole announcement video explaining why I won't be here next week. Let's just get started with this chapter, and if you guys want for any other manga chapters, if I get enough requests in the comments on a specific thing like the Bleach chapter I'll be missing next week, leave it in the comments, and if I get enough responses I will do a review slash discussion on a older chapter. So this chapter is it's pretty straightforward, but the whole thing implies like what the heck is going on from chapters before, because it's still not very clear what the heck happened when the second demon, which from here on out I'll refer to as the blue demon, came out of Toriko. Did he literally extend his arm so long for miles that he caught the falling air fruit and then pulled it back and ate it in one gulp? It also doesn't make sense for the whole fact that it's explained in this chapter that the fruit is literally 500 meters across, and yet when he pulls it in and eats it, or at least Toriko eats it, it's like this small. It's like as big as his mouth. So that doesn't make sense, and it has me thinking that either that was not the fruit, or the only other possibility is he did extend his hand that long and eat the fruit and pulled it back after Komatsu had prepared it when it fell to the ground. Which, if that's true, it poses a lot of problems, because it's like, what the heck's going to happen now? I thought we were going to feed part of this to the bewitching Food World Village, who had wanted it for centuries, and I thought this pregnant horse wants to eat it, and now Toriko has eaten it. He probably leveled up his gourmet cells, but now we are screwed beyond extent, because now this horse is back to where it started, and who knows what's going to happen. But it brings up a lot of other points, like these blue Nitro who have been sort of farming this fruit for years. Where are they? And it sort of implies that like they may come out at the last possible moment. If this was that fruit that the blue demon ate, if the fruit that Toriko ate was in fact the air fruit, then that means that it's all safe and good. But if it wasn't, there's still that potential for the blue Nitro to come in as a team and steal the fruit right when it's prepared by Komatsu. And it's happened before. Remember when Komatsu prepared that seed-like fruit? A Nitro came in and stole it and ate it. They're just ravenously hungry, and these blue Nitro seem like smarter individuals who they're not there to just eat the food. It's like they're using it for some other purpose. So these blue Nitro, if they do come, would probably steal it away and not eat it straight out right there. But again, I definitely think it is a huge possibility, because it'd be stupid for the blue Nitro not to time when the fruit ripens and at least be in the area so they are ready to farm it. And so just going on with this chapter, one thing I do have to remark on is this this whole team. First off, they just look awesome. Their wardrobe, Tengu Buranchi is just a beast. For him to just be able to hold such a huge knife in just one hand effortlessly, and speed at such a fast pace that, at least from what was depicted in the panels, it seemed like he was the fastest among all the heavenly kings. And literally, it makes sense, because he's this lightning-based person who should, he thrives on speed. At the same time, though, I really want to know what Buranchi's full potential and power level is. Like, we saw his capabilities in the Colosseum arc, and that sort of delineates that, okay, he's strong but not on the Susanoo level or the Naki Master Jiro level. At the same time though, I feel like he has advanced in strength, so we don't know like how great he is. I feel like he's probably roughly on the same level as the rest of them. And again, just a little laugh and nod at the Tengu Buranchi and Zebra duo. I think, you know, I wouldn't say predicted that, but I remarked on how it could potentially be a good duo when he was first introduced in my review on that, because I was like, Zebra and Buranchi are very similar. They're these solo people who are very like arrogant, and also very independent. And for one to be a cook and one to be a Bishio Kukai, it just works perfectly. Or wait, no, that's not right. Not Bishio Kukai, Gourmet Hunter. Moving on though, another quick remark. So this whole thing with Coco replicating the Kareru with his poison doll, and Sunny with his hair called remote hairs, I just thought it was quite amazing. But at the same time, the remote hairs thing just didn't make sense for me. Like it doesn't even seem realistic. Like stretching your hair out for so long and then just pulling yourself through, that sort of strength would require like rock solid hair. And for it not to be seen, even though it's stretched out for miles, means it has to be paper thin, which pretty much implies, in terms of physics, it's razor sharp, and that can pose a lot of problems for anyone walking through that area. And on top of that, it's just, you know, very, very unsafe, because if you're moving at such high speeds, pulling yourself through your hair, if anyone's in the way or along your path, you're screwed. You're gonna knock into them, you're gonna kill them. But I mean, I guess Sunny's smart enough to dodge it. Moving on though, we finally get to this whole thing with the air fruit, and we won't know until the next few chapters whether or not this is in fact already in the past, because it's already been depicted that this blue demon that Toriko has in fact eaten some sort of fruit. It seems like, I'm pretty sure it is the air fruit that Komatsu prepared. It seems like he ate the whole thing in one bite. It still doesn't make sense though, but there it is. And the reason being because the narration in that chapter I'm referring to literally goes, and then Horse King Heracles realized that in an instant that boy had prepared the air fruit. So anyhow, you know, it's a very interesting thing, and again, I haven't remarked on the demon thing enough, so just a little bit more on that. The blue demon, what I call blue demon, you know, I don't really like his outfit, his coat getup. I think it's cool to a certain extent, but it's somewhat strange. I think the first demon that Toriko houses is in fact stronger, but again, at least from appearance side, that's what I think. Obviously this second demon is stronger, but appearance wise, I think the first one looked more badass, more awesome. So I thought the second one, I was expecting him to look just monstrously more badass, but he's this strange little cartoonish character, and looks somewhat cool nonetheless. In addition to that though, I think the other biggest thing though is that his outfit really works with his personality, I guess you can say. And in addition to that, his personality is definitely off the charts, unique and amazing, similar to other manga series, but as far as the Toriko universe goes, very, very unique. He has this sort of, you know, sassy sort of countryman, badass, knows he's really strong, and looks down on others sort of personality. It's kind of hard to explain, but you know, he goes in, he's almost making fun of this horse. He's like, "Here, little horsey," and he just knocks the horse out in the face. Well, not really knocks him out. He does a punch that deals no damage, but you get the point. So anyhow, you know, here's another major thing. Komatsu, being the genius he is, being able to hear the voice of the fruit, realizes that, hey, the blue Nichiro have been preparing it wrong. If we do it properly, we can potentially get 120% of the taste out of it, rather than what the Nitro have been getting out of it, which is like 80%. So who knows what the Nitro has been doing with this food, but as far as I can tell, if you eat really good food and you have gourmet cells, you level up in power level. And this is like one of the best foods apparently in the gourmet world. It's kind of like Pokemon, the video game, where there's 8 gyms, each on a different island or continent or area, and you just go through them collecting the badges. And this is somewhat like that. Regardless though, we're moving on, and what we see here is also amazing. I just think it's drawn awesome, and like if you look at like the perspective that this author draws these characters is just amazing. That picture where Tengu Branchi is just holding the sword straight up vertically, it's just amazing. Not sword, knife. And then when he just, he cuts through the air and you just see him like literally cut through the air, it's just like amazing as well. Great artwork, great, setup. And so finally, everything comes together. Like every member, almost every member, comes together to help out in some way that's definitely useful. Sunny's partner, who Sunny was blaming for doing nothing but collecting the ingredients while they were going through that rain area, has now contributed good nutrients, as have all the other partners. And then the Sasai is reviving the nutrients to get more of them, and yada yada yada. It's just really great. So now they're building up to preparing this fruit. I have no doubt that Komatsu will do it. Tengu Branchi's cutting the air because literally the air is so thick that and the knife is so sharp that if you cut the air, it's just a lot cleaner at that point on. And so finally, the biggest thing though is this whole thing with Toriko, this final scene. And let me just remark, and this, I definitely think this is how it's drawn. Toriko's hair is now completely black. It's completely black now. This is something that's definitely come up somehow in recently. I think the author literally just decided to do this, which has screwed the anime up completely, because up until now it's like the anime has been just completely blue hair. But there was a recent narration that was like Toriko's hair. Now that I think of it, it went something like this, paraphrased. Now that I think about it, Toriko's hair has been mostly black with a tinge of blue this whole time, which has been completely contrary to all the anime produced. But I think that the author has now decided on it and stuck with it, because his hair is drawn completely black in this page. And just as a little aside, I've remarked on this in the last video, but just as another aside, Toriko's, what can I say? Toriko's Toriko's 2 demons, right? It is not something that they made up recently. If you flip back to the flashback when Ichiryu first saw little Toriko as a child, starving on the ground, he makes a remark, and you can flip back to that page if you want proof. If you look at the dialogue, he says something like, this guy's gonna be a huge threat. He's born with gourmet cells, and it looks like he has 2. It was something like 1, not 2 things inside of him. It wasn't remarked demons, or maybe it was, but it was like 1, not 2 demons inside of him. And then I think it was Manchu. No, what's his name? The guy with the metal things, the bald guy who's always like, "Did you call me handsome?" That guy was with him, and at the time he had a lock of full hair, and he was like, "Oh, he's gonna be a threat. Should I kill him now?" Which is just, really badass, and at the same time, it sort of displays how the real world works. No, the real world doesn't owe it to you to reach your potential. You can be snuffed out if someone thinks you're a threat. Even if, if you reach your potential, you will be stronger than him. He's going to play the smart move and just kill you there on out. Luckily, they didn't do that with Toriko. So, this final whole thing was just quite amazing. You have this, blue demon who's just ridiculous. Like, the way he's just depicted, always smiling, and his personality, like the way he talks, he's like, I wish I could play around all day, but Horse King Heracles, that childish franticness of yours, at a glance, you look like you're composed as hell, but you can't totally hide it. you're pregnant, huh? This is just a very, you know, I wouldn't call it sassy, but like he's someone who can hold himself up, and he doesn't mind you know, snide comments back. Anyhow, it's also, you know, it brings up an interesting thing. You know, this horse is pregnant. It seems like these things, these 8 beasts are gender neutral. Well, not okay. That's not true. As far as Terry goes, you know, the female that gave birth to Terry was definitely different from the male full-grown version of the wolf gourmet king. However, this horse king Hercules has looked like a male this whole time. So it's hard to say. You know, there are males who give birth even in the real world in terms of nature. So it's not uncommon. But as far as, you know, if he has to mate or if he does it asexually, I don't know. And so the second to last panel is quite amazing. You know, it goes completely black, and basically it turns out that Horse King Hercules has decided to take his first breath for God knows how long, because quote, the most dangerous creatures in the world are parents that are protecting their child, and so therefore he takes a tenth of his typical full breath after several years of not breathing, and it sucks out all the air and starves this demon of air, which is somewhat funny because it's like the demon needs air as well. And so you know, they do this whole thing, this narration of how, okay, a human can last a week without food, technically like 3 weeks if you do it right. Water, 3 or 4 days. I think you could last longer with water. And then oxygen only for 10 seconds, and then it goes on and on about how breathing is something incomparable to food or water in terms of being essential for maintaining life. It is at the top. Very, you know, not exactly completely accurate, but accurate enough and very true. And so what happens, and it seems somewhat, the way it's drawn is somewhat vague, but I feel like what happens is Toriko subconsciously, unconsciously sucks back the blue demon, realizing that subconsciously he can't breathe anymore, because the way he's drawn, he's like surprised that he's being sucked back. And so, you know, the whole thing comes back except for his arm. So now his right arm seems to be that of a demon. Not only is it completely blue, but the fingers are just longer and pointier. And so we don't know if he will keep that, but it's there. And so the last page is just literally the Horse King Hercules pretty much saying that it's narrated that pretty much saying that this guy is such a beast, because he's pretty much saying, I'm a beast, you didn't stand a chance anyways. He's saying, the narration goes, coming from one of the 8 kings, this was a result it knew from the beginning. Most living things in this world were opponents that could not even fight it. What a beast. And so, you know, the blue demon did tremendously well, but I feel like it's something like I would equate it to one of the first arcs in Naruto, where Naruto loses the fight after going completely, and then some hidden thing in him, namely the Nine-Tails chakra beast, or Nine-Tailed Fox, comes out, takes over for him, and then goes above and beyond and just destroys. But that's one of those things where it's like, okay, that's not really your power. It's like this hidden thing inside of you that you didn't even know about. So it's more like a handicap. And a lot of people, you know, they hyped up Naruto saying he was stronger than Sasuke, which I still feel is stupid now. And it's like, okay, he is borrowing a lot of his power from this Nine-Tailed beast. It's not his own. It's something hidden inside of him. It doesn't really count. And so it's the same sort of thing with this 8 demon, this blue demon guy. And it's funny because it also lost. Now, here's something interesting though. It hasn't been explicitly stated that the blue demon is stronger than the first demon. Like, everyone thinks so, but think about it. Like, it can go either way, because obviously he's really strong. He just come out. He was requested for help by the original demon, literally saying like, if there's anything else I can do, please, I wouldn't have come to you, but I can't think of anything else. I have to come to request your help. Please help out, because if the original vessel is destroyed, everything is lost. Pretty much saying, hey, if the body that we're housed in is destroyed, namely Toriko, we are all screwed. Similar, a little bit of a nod, well, not a nod, but I would say similar to certain manga series and certain fictional books I've read, and some books I haven't read, but I know the synopsis. Somewhat like Bleach, for instance. And so ultimately, long story short, you know, it's the first demon says something like, at my current power level, given Toriko's ability, I am of no use versus this Horse King. And then the blue demon comes out. But that's saying, okay, with my current power level. And so it's sort of foreshadowed again. This was foreshadowed at the end of the Starjin versus Toriko fight in the Colosseum, when the inner demon talks to Toriko, and he's just lying there on his side, and he's like, hey Toriko, get me the best foods ever, which means Akatia's full course. He doesn't really explicitly say Akatia's, he just says that man's full course. He says, get me that man's full course, and I will fully be able to come out of you. So that's potentially saying that, hey, if I ever get to that power level, if you ever eat these foods, you will evolve your gourmet cells enough so that this full demon will reach its full potential, which could potentially mean that it's stronger than the blue demon, or both will work together as a duo, technically trio event, thus making Toriko the strongest ever. Again, the whole fact that the manga series is called Toriko, similar like how Naruto is called Naruto, sort of gives away, or potentially gives away, some of what's going to happen or who's going to be the strongest, but who knows? That's not always the case. And so finally, last but not least, you know, I think that's it actually. Yeah, Toriko just we don't know what's going to happen, but I'm excited to see what's going to happen, and we'll see what happens. Like, this is kind of like the first gym leader on the Pokemon TV show. They're about to get their first gym badge. So it's interesting, and thanks for watching. As always, like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. I will see you in my next video. Peace.